All right, state your name and your date of birth.
My name is Paul Zamora Paular, born December 30th, 1932. I was born in a house in Los Angeles at the corner of Burlington and Temple Streets, kitty-cornered from the present Los Angeles Filipino Community Building. My neighbors were primarily Filipino Americans, or Filipinos born in the Philippines and came here with some of their kids. Along with the Filipino neighbors was poor people from Oklahoma, poor Mexicans in the area. The Fernandez family lived right around the corner, and some of the Filipino family was the Ennebrad family. John Ennebrad was my Uncle Cecil's best friend. He was known as Dump Ennebrad. And the Floridas lived right around the corner. And Jimmy Florida was a top contender in 1940 for, I think it was lightweight or featherweight boxing. He lost in a championship fight to Juan Zurita in 1940. Other Filipino families, the Lamboy family, the Nava family, the Rivera family, a lot of Filipino families. They were all hard-working farm laborers.
Tell us the story about throwing rocks at the windows.
Oh, in the year of 1942, shortly after we went back to vacation in Stockton, all those Filipino children were pulled out of school, all the Filipino boys. The police were questioning us and roughing us up, getting us to admit that we had broken windows in an abandoned warehouse. It was abandoned during World War II because all the workers had gone into the army. Well, we indeed broke a lot of windows, but since the building was abandoned, we were pretending it was a Japanese stronghold, and we were being very patriotic young boys and throwing rocks to break all the windows in a Japanese stronghold. Well, we were all hauled to juvenile court a few weeks later and stand trial for having done this very wrong deed. Of course, we were all found guilty, and each one of the families were fined, I think, $50 per family, which was a humongous amount of money during those days, especially what you make picking tomatoes or onions and things like that. It was very hard work. My mother and grandmother had to pay for their share. All the families paid, except when my mother got up there, she told the judge, look, Judge, you made all these accusations against all these kids, but you haven't shown one bit of evidence that we indeed, or these kids indeed, were the ones who did this bad deed. So I'm not going to pay you. You can put me in jail, but I'm not going to pay you. She was the only family that did not pay. And I was one of the ringleaders that got the kids that day to go ahead and attack the Japanese stronghold. I felt so bad about that over the years that I thought I'd never get my mother into trouble again, having to go to court for me. I never did after that. I was never arrested anymore after that.
How old were you when that happened?
I must have been 10 years old, and shortly after Pearl Harbor.
After you got to Stockton in 1942, tell us what happened.
Well, we went back to live with my grandmother in that very poor neighborhood, of course. And being very patriotic kids, while our parents are still working at the farm, us kids would be playing on the streets even up to 7, 8 o'clock at night. During close to summertime, there's a lot of light yet. We marched around making noise, and one of the neighbors came out. I think he was a World War I veteran, and told us, "You kids, you can get out of here. You're making a noise. You're a big nuisance. Go on home." And being young, wise kids, I think I made a bad remark. I can't remember exact words. He started coming after us, so we just continued to march away from his house. And we went to go around a four-block circuit to come on back almost in front of his house again. When I got about 2 blocks away, he had gone just the opposite direction from we were marching, and he was hiding behind a car. When they got there, he started chasing us, and he homed in on me. He chased me for 2 blocks, and he got just about in front of his house. He caught up with me and threw me to the ground and said, "Beat me up." And I was so scared, all I could do was yell and scream, see. I wasn't hurt that bad, but he was pounding my face. And lucky, a young 17-year-old Filipino teenager came by and pulled him off of me. I didn't wait to see what would happen to the guy. I just ran home. But I didn't tell my mother what had happened, because I knew if she found out what had happened, she would have beat me up too. Years later, in fact, this is within the last 5 years, I was asking one of my good Mexican friends, what had ever happened to that old man that beat me up on that corner? He said, "Me, you didn't know?" A few months after he beat me up, his own dogs turned on him. He had 4 dogs. His own dogs turned on him and killed him.
Talk to us about the Wilshire Cafe.
Yes, the Wilshire Cafe was started when I was about 13 years old, after my mom and dad finally got together and they didn't separate anymore. I started a restaurant, so I had to work in the restaurant, me and my older brothers, every day after school until about 8 o'clock at night. As long as we lived at home, he says you have to work. One laughable situation is I'm helping my dad behind the food counter making sandwiches, and the waitress orders a chicken sandwich. So my dad looks to me, "Junior, bring out the turkey. They won't know the difference." So I go there and make a chicken sandwich, and the customer didn't know any different.
So it was supposed to be a turkey sandwich or a chicken sandwich?
It was supposed to be vice versa, one or the other. Whatever it was, he asked for just the opposite. Whatever he had in there.
Tell us about how you met Mom.
Yes, in September 1963, I moved from Sacramento, quit my job at Aerojet after 4 years, and came down here to work for Douglas Aircraft. And at the same time, my main reason for coming here is to work on my master's degree in mechanical engineering. At the same time, while I was here, I went back to the church I used to go to when I was a child. Just because some families I remembered, and so I thought I'd go there, and I lucked out because the church was full of girls, roughly my age. And my first Sunday there in church, I was introduced to several girls, of course. One girl in particular, I was introduced to her 3 or 4 times, the same girl. And that was Rebecca Dumapius, the oldest sister of 9 children. I met her several times during that day, so the subsequent Sundays where I come back to church again, of course, I So I started socializing with her and then eventually dating her out. And we had been going together for about maybe 6 to 9 months. And one day after a date, and I was taking her home, she was very melancholy, almost tears in her eyes. And I was telling her, "What happened, honey? I say something wrong?" I says, "No, but I just told today that my brother, who's younger than me, is going to be getting married. He's younger than me, but he's going to get married before me. I feel so bad about that," she said. And I don't know what I was thinking about at the time, you know. I was dating her out, and I was seriously going with her, but marriage was not right in my mind. I was thinking about my master's degree. I wanted to get that out of the way. And I mentioned to her, "Geez, I'm sorry about that. Gee, I didn't think about us getting married till at least about 9 months to a year from now." Oops. Before I knew it, see, we're sitting side by side. Before I knew it, I'm on my back, looking upward. She's smothering me with kisses. That was my proposal to her. She took it as such. And before I know it, she's dragging me out of the car and bringing me inside the house to tell her parents that I had just proposed. And I was thinking, oh gosh, well, I'll postpone my master's degree. My master's degree, I'll settle for an MRS instead.
Anything else you want to talk about or let us know about Mom?
Sure. You probably have been told about how much a good Christian she was, but most people really don't know how good of a Christian she is, and she lived her life fully as a Christian. And she's always helping out people. Since she wasn't working, I'd always give her an allowance. But I come to find out that whatever I gave her, she was always giving away to people who were in need of money. She gave away most of her allowance all those years we were married, and I didn't really know until after she had passed away, when I got hold of some of the records. She was helping people with not enough money to buy food. She'd be just outright just giving them money or giving them food. She and some of her other Christian friends. Every week she'd go to El Camino park near the El Camino College, and she'd feed people at least once or twice a week. See, they'd go around restaurants and getting donations of leftover food from the previous day from a lot of the restaurants. They just gladly give it to her. So she did that for many years. And consequently, your mom didn't have much of a savings account because everything she had, she gave away. But I couldn't berate her for something like that. You know, I thought maybe I've had such good luck with my family life and my kids growing up and all that, mainly because of the good life she lived, and the fact that I didn't really stop her from doing what she wanted to do. A lot of people benefited from her benevolence, you know.